Okay, Zatima fans, here we are with Season 1, Episode 3, entitled Off Limits. Also, quick reminder, last night there was no sneak peek of Episode 2, so if you want to watch Zatima, get BET+. A lot of people messaged me last night when I woke up this morning, messages range from like 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. Hey, Zatima's up on BET+, so it does seem that it's going to be, for the next 3 weeks, episodes 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10. Each Thursday, 3 a.m. Eastern time, that's when we'll get new episodes. So, Off Limits is, believe it or not, I'm going to give it, I feel weird giving it this score, but a 9 out of 10, mainly because the first scene, which I did like, because it was lovely Gretchen. But I'll explain as I, go through the episode, because last week I still stand by my 10 out of 10 scores. But I'm like, okay, as the season goes on, what's going to happen when I give a score less than a 10? Somebody will think something is really wrong. I think there were a couple of moments that semi-dragged on a little bit during this episode. It didn't take me out of the episode. It's not anything horribly bad. It's just that I think like the salon scenes, for example, when Fatima went by to get her hair done. What is it? Gigi Salon. You got the hairdresser Kyle there, and you got Belinda, Fatima, and Angela. And then after Belinda leaves, there's a lot of he said, she said going on. So that kind of padded out the episode. This episode, though, was the shortest one so far. It was only 28 minutes, which I don't mind. But this was one of those cases where I feel like there was a bit of padding during certain scenes, just for the sake of the runtime. So a 9 out of 10 is still a good score. And, it's just a good thing when one of the few things I have to nitpick are, scene related in terms of going on too long. But other than that, let's jump into the review. So Gretchen's interrogation continues. And it's interesting because Zach is literally sticking to his, hey, I don't know. If I felt like editing it in, I would put in this Kiki Palmer. I don't know who this woman is. I swear I don't. It's like, so you don't know this woman? Like, yeah, well, yeah, I don't know. Look, I don't know. I don't like where was that picture taken at? I don't know what's going on. And then Gretchen pulls out another photo. This time it's that screenshot. Because I feel like, when these characters pull up video clips or pictures, I'm like, they must have took them from my YouTube channel, because I'm just joking. I know that's not what they did, but that's exactly what I do when I'm doing my videos, where I freeze frame episodes and I screenshot things, or I get clips from a certain scene. It looks just like how I would do things. It's like when she pulled out the photo, which was a wider shot, where Tony's handing Zach a piece of paper. And I'm like, yo, that will make a great thumbnail from one of my videos from back in the day. But essentially, Zach is like, look, yeah, I may have met her at the airport, but here's the thing. I met a lot of people at the airport, getting bags for a lot of people. It's easy to forget a face, not to mention, I don't always get a tip. So she didn't tip you, but you don't remember her. Wouldn't you be mad about that? Gretchen, I didn't get tipped a lot. And then, Gretchen takes it up a notch, where she's like, you know what? Okay. So what? I mean, I'm answering your questions and you're not liking the answer. What else do you want me to do? So, okay, we're done here. What, do I need to get a lawyer? Oh, you need to get several lawyers, Mr. Taylor. Okay, I'll get my several lawyers. So she gets up and she opens the door. Come arrest him. And then Zach looks, and then we go to the theme song. And then Zach is like, he's unflinched. He's just like, okay, so where they at? You know what, Mr. Taylor? No one's ever talked to me like that. You know the vibe she was giving me? I don't know why, but I was getting Gail from The Oval. Like the way Gail would kind of like, roll her eyes and move her neck around. That's kind of like the vibes Gretchen was giving me, like the venomous way she was saying certain things. I'm not going to lie, though. I was speculating this, but maybe I did say this in one of my videos about how will Zach get out of the Gretchen situation. I was getting to the point where I felt there was some sort of maybe sexual tension there, because of the fact that when Gretchen's like, no one ever talked to me like that, yeah, according to Bryce, oh, she's a bitch, she's a hard ass. But sometimes when that kind of thing happens, I mean, I've seen this trope in a lot of shows. I think the first that comes to mind is like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. One of the early episodes, Vivica Fox was, I think, Jazz's cousin. And and she was on a date with Will. Jazz was there, Carlton was there, and she pretty much was walking all over Will. But then when Carlton told her about how rude she was being, she instantly fell for him because nobody's ever spoken to her like that before. And the fact that Zach has been the first, I guess you could say, person she's investigated that pretty much stood his ground and pretty much told her, you know what, I have been answering every question that you've given me or you've asked me. You're the one who's in their feelings, you're mad and whatnot because you don't like my answers. So what is it you want me to do? I mean, we're just wasting each other's time here. I mean, it's funny because Gretchen said, 2 things I can't stand: wasting time, people that waste time, and liars. And I mean, here she is doing both, wasting Zach's time going back and forth, but she has no solid evidence. And not only that, she lied about the cops, but she goes on to say, usually people are shitting themselves, pissing themselves, and you're just standing here unflinched. But look, you're smart. Oh, well, thank you. That's not a compliment. I don't know. Usually when people say you're smart, no, it's like you're street smart too. And and people like you have that thing going on where you feel like you got away with something. So for now, the case is closed, but I'm still going to have my eye on you. And she leaves. In a way, I kind of felt a bit anticlimactic from this scene where it just felt too easy. But then on the flip side, it's like, well, there really isn't much you can do because this scene played out a lot like how people always said it would. Even back in Sistas season 4 when Hayden got the video footage and whatnot. There's really nothing to prove that Tony gave Zach that information. Because it's interesting because Gretchen even mentions, damn, I went to speak to that lady, the senator's wife, and she said the same thing, like nothing happened. So I guess Fatima's warnings, even though it's a separate universe, according to DeVal, when Fatima said, don't open your mouth, it actually worked. Like Tony didn't blab. So for now, the big obstacle is out of the way, involving the SEC coming after Zach. But it's kind of left open-ended where if Tyler wanted to bring the SEC back, he could, because as Gretchen said, the case is closed for now, but that doesn't mean I'm still not going to look to see if I can find anything. But like I said before, I wouldn't be surprised if Gretchen didn't have some sort of attraction to Zach. This is just me, but it just seemed to me the way she was so aggravated, because I could tell she's probably the type that isn't used to losing, and at the same time, to have a man, for lack of a better phrase, put her in her place. Like, look, you come in here with this attitude and, this, trash talking. I'm giving you the answer. I'm the one remaining calm, and you're getting flustered. It's like those situations where, somebody who's giving you negative energy, they're yelling and all, and you remain calm. That just makes them flip out even more. That's kind of what I was getting here. So let me know if I read the situation wrong. I know I'm almost 10 minutes into this video talking about this one scene, but there really is a lot to dissect here. Okay, and then the funniest part is when Gretchen leaves and Zach literally passes out like, I mean, can you really blame him? He just avoids jail time. And then later on in the episode, there's another scene where, yet again, he has to deal with a major potential life change. Now, Fatima comes home, kicks off her shoes. One key point, we see Zach, I think he comes downstairs and he actually had grabbed her slippers. So that was pretty cute. So Fatima sits down, he starts rubbing her feet, and she talks about how, hey, I'm about to go to a salon, get my hair done and whatnot. And he's all excited because he's like, oh, you're still mad about last night, the Belinda thing? No, I'm not mad. It's just that, a lot going on, and I had a long day. I'm tired. And he actually, he's giddy due to the fact that he beat the SEC charges. And, hey, I was using all that Wall Street lingo, and the case is closed. So that's that. Now, before they can really bask in the moment, there's a ring on the doorbell. That's funny because leading into next episode is the hilarious bit of Zach being fed up with so many visitors in the same night. But Heather comes by with her son, and simply put, this argument she makes has no weight to it whatsoever. It's making no sense. Okay. So not only is she refusing to have the DNA test done, she wants money up front. She wants her child support money up front, which makes no sense to me, because if you're 150% certain that this is your son, what would it matter? Because if he is Zach's son, as you claim, why don't you let him take the test? I mean, from there, you can not only get the money you're demanding, if you take it through the proper channels, but at the same time, there's nothing to worry about. I mean, what's the hesitation? Not to mention, she takes it a step further, saying, my private investigator said the other half of this duplex is up for sale, so you should let me and your son move in. The audacity of it all. And the funny part is, Fatima all the while, let me hold little man. And she's in the background, like, hey. And it's funny because Heather keeps going on and on about how, this test ain't happening. You got to pay for the DNA. So Fatima actually, lets them leave, when things look like they're about to escalate. Do I need to put your head through another wall again? Oh, wait, what do you mean again? Oh, nothing, baby. We had a little chat earlier. So Heather is like, this nice house and everything. Yeah, And then they just leave. Like, oh, yeah, you threatened me. I'm leaving. So it's funny because Maxine, I know Maxine wasn't the first one to suggest this, but it was the most notable theory that it was a cotton swab that Fatima was holding up in the trailer, and it turns out that's what it was. They did video and everything on it. So yeah, while Zach and Heather were going back and forth, Fatima actually swabbed the kid, and then she even did Zach as well. That way they can go to the lab at her job and within 36 hours find out if he's the father or not. To be completely honest, I hope he isn't the father, not just for the sake of Zach and Fatima need a break, but just the whole way this story has been written is kind of flimsy, if you ask me, because I know it's a separate universe, but at the same time in Sistas, Jake and Bill Watts were like, oh yeah, we get a DNA test done, but apparently it hasn't been done yet. And not to mention, I know that the child support system isn't really made to, cater to the father's needs or anything, but this is so asinine to me because of the fact that he had to pay, $37,000 to get out of jail when he got arrested for child support. Yet now a DNA test is being withheld because Heather wants even more child support money. It makes no sense. So that's yet again another reason why this episode isn't getting a 10 out of 10, because I feel like things are kind of being dragged on with this when it really shouldn't. Either that's the son or not, All right, so from there, Fatima still isn't trusting of Bryce. Like, there's just something about him. And it's interesting how Zach is quick to say, come on, he saved me from jail. You ought to be his #1 fan. On the one hand, I see where Zach is coming from, but on another, when a woman has a hunch like that, especially a tough woman like Fatima, remember earlier in the day, Gretchen, who was tough as nails, had a hunch you were hiding something, which is true, but you hid it so well. She's like, for now, the case is closed, but I'm still going to be looking. The same could be said about Bryce and Fatima, where Fatima, there's just something I don't trust about him. I think it's valid to listen to what she says, Zach. But again, based on the situation, I can understand both sides of it. But it's just a bit off-putting that it's Bryce instead of Jake, because as an audience member, we're more accustomed to him being the one helping Zach throughout the SEC stuff and being connected to Gary. So later that night, Bryce and Zach are out for their jog, and we see Fatima going to the salon. I'll get to that in a little bit. So the jog, is going well. Zach is kind of struggling to keep up, but he's happy he's made it through the SEC barrier. He just shows or tells Bryce how appreciative he is of all the help. And then they talk about flipping properties. It just so happens they jog to a particular spot where Zach is looking at this house that, he might try to flip. Turns out the realtor is somebody that Bryce knows Valerie Reed. And from there, Zach is actually thinking about getting an office space. That way people would take him more seriously. So what they do is, go up to Gary's office building, because Gary isn't there. And they stop by, I think, if I'm not mistaken, do they go to Bryce's office or Gary's office? I forgot which one. Basically, it's Gary's hedge fund operation office, and they go to Bryce or Gary's particular office. And Zach loves what he sees, and the view, but he's like, ooh, is there something cheaper I can get? And Bryce is like, yeah. What we can do, I can find you a place that's just as nice, but it's more affordable. So that's pretty much the deal there. And then from there, Bryce, kind of asks about Fatima, the whole Belinda situation, if everything's cool with that. And, he just says, well, hey, just be cool, be careful. Like when a woman says everything's okay, that means sometimes she might be plotting something. And Zach's like, hey, don't worry about it. And, Bryce's like, hey, man, you want to go for drinks or something? Like, nah, I need to head back home. So that's, where Zach goes. Now from there, we go over to Gigi's salon, and, Belinda's in there talking with Cal, and Fatima rolls in to get her hair done. And they pretty much call her out for, you get your hair done like, what, once or twice a week? That new man you were supposed to be wearing it out. And as soon as Belinda leaves, apologizing again for last night, turns out Angela is there too. And there's a lot of gossiping behind Fatima's back because of the fact that, Belinda might be going after Zach because, I don't know if this was like recent gossip or maybe during the 2 years ago thing, but apparently Belinda was really into Zach. And Fatima is kind of, wondering what the heck is everybody like talking about. Not to mention the fact that Angela's trying to get him to shut up so, they can work on her hair as well. And then later on under the dryers, Angela is asking Fatima, hey, are you cool? Is everything okay? Like, you don't need to buy that nonsense. And Fatima, was like, look, that's my best friend. She would never do anything like that behind my back trying to get with my man because Zach is with me now. So we go over to Zach returning home, and he sees a woman pull up in the other driveway taking pictures of the home. And it turns out to be Val. Bryce actually called her because Bryce did say, hey, I'll call her and see if, she can help out with the properties. So they introduce themselves to each other, Shady Val or Shady Valerie, and they go inside the duplex just to look around. Valerie's impressed by how Zach was able to, put the place together. He's like, look, are you looking to sell? I can give you a cool 1.5 mil for it. And Zach's like, nah, you know what? I think I'm good. Me and my lady just moved in, and you can tell by the look on her face, Val was a bit disappointed because, you could tell she was attracted to Zach. And she leaves her business card saying, hey, you know what? I will put together a portfolio of different places and listings I have. You can look and tell me what you want, because I just love this confident Zach. It's not that he was 100% stupid. It's the fact that, we see him in elements where he excels, whether it be numbers or business savvy, legit business savvy. Like, so what's your price range? It really depends on the area and the type of house it is, So it's just little things like that. I just love seeing that side of Zach. He's not all comedic, all man whore all the time. He's a legitimate businessman, or at least he's trying to be one now. So as Valerie is leaving, Belinda actually comes in, sizing her up. Oh, who is this? Who is this? And as soon as she leaves, Belinda pretty much, basically tries to put the moves on Zach. And I'm just looking at how she's unbuttoning her, shirt, and then the way that she shoves Zach down to the chair. I'm just sitting there like, I wish that were me. But he's basically ducking and dodging like a game of hot potato, or should I say potatoes at this point, because both her girls are just hanging out there. But it's getting a little warm in here. But in any case, Zach's like, you know what? Hey, I'm gonna call Fatima. No. She's under the dryer. I timed it. She'll be out she won't be back home for a couple of hours, Zach. Look, just take me. So it gets to the point where this woman literally jumps on top of Zach. He gets up. He looks like a trapeze artist where he has his arms hanging, hey, I am not touching you. I am not consenting to your sexual advances. There will be no DNA fingerprints when this is through. Belinda, I am rejecting your advances. And he manages to somehow get her off. And again, the way she's clinging to him, Lord knows I wish that were me. But in any case, he manages to get her off, and then he heads upstairs. Look, he's screaming the whole time, Belinda, you need to get out of here. Belinda, no, leave, leave, leave. And then as soon as he makes it upstairs, he's like, I think he even says, hey, you followed me up these stairs, I'm going to kick you down. And then as soon as he gets up there, Fatima's sitting at she's sitting at the foot of the bed, and Zach's like, oh. And I was wondering the whole time, how in the hell she make it back? So, yeah, this was an episode. So, just little bitty things like the salon scenes kind of dragging out a bit too much, and then the Heather DNA thing. 9 out of 10 is still good, but I feel like when it comes to Zatima, I really need to explain why an episode gets a 10 out of 10 or why it does not. But like I said, the Gretchen thing seemed a bit anticlimactic, but at the same time left the door open for this beautiful actress to return to the story at some point. I might have to come up with a video idea of ways she can come back. Simply put, the SEC could reopen the case, or for all we know, she could probably have people following Zach. I know it seems a bit asinine, but at the same time, bring Gretchen back at some point, please, Tyler Perry. I mean, hell, all these women are fine as hell. It's just the fact that I feel like Gretchen is gone for the time being, but you got Val, we got Belinda, we got Fatima, hell, Angela's growing on. Well, except for the next episode, we'll get to that. Lord, and I feel like there are more ladies to come, but Gretchen is the standout for me. I don't know what it is, but you're fine. You really are. I mean, all these women fine, but Gretchen, maybe it's the way she acts. I don't know. Let me stop. I'm incriminating myself when last week I said I will keep my thirst respectful thirst. Even though I kind of lost it there during the Belinda scenes, but we ain't going to get to that. So, thanks so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts on Off Limits. That needs to be my tagline. These women are off limits. I'm just a critic states away. So, there's no... Okay. Like and subscribe. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Hit that bell icon and select all. That way you do not miss out whenever I post content on the channel. And with that being said, I will talk to you soon.